Just tell me, like, when and where you were born.
Where was I born? New York City.
New York City?
Yes. My address was 334 East 106th Street. My mother had a beauty shop there. It was originally my grandmother's beauty shop. And then my mother worked there with her two sisters. And then from what I understand, my grandfather had a barber shop downstairs. And my uncles worked for my grandfather. And each son, there was 5 boys and 4 girls, 9 children.
Wow.
Yeah. And the girls were beauticians, and the boys were barbers. But they all had to learn an instrument. Each one played either guitar, trumpet, clarinet. Grandpa was very strict that way. And I stayed there. I lived there until I got married.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Forest Hills, which is in Queens. Grandma owned that house, and I took the apartment upstairs, and downstairs my Aunt Kay with my cousin Richard and Irene lived, and my Uncle Nick. So they were good company for me. They took care of sometimes the children when I would go out with my husband. So it was really nice. My husband came from New York also.
Where did you meet him? About when did you meet him?
We were like childhood sweethearts.
You
My mother-in-law used to go to my mother's beauty shop every Friday to get her hair done. It was very funny because my husband was in the service. He was in Italy, in the army. And my mother-in-law used to tell me, "You're going to be my daughter-in-law someday." And I used to laugh at her because my husband was already going out pretty steady with a girl named Helena,
Yeah.
who lived not far from my neighborhood. But then she became pregnant while my husband was in the service.
Oh.
So my mother-in-law told her, "You must write to my son and tell her what happened." And she did, and my mother-in-law said that broke up.
Yeah.
And then when he came home from the service, he called me, he called from Italy to say he was in Rome, and he knew I had relatives, my father's relatives lived in Rome. So he wanted their address to go visit, which he did, and he would bring them cigarettes and stuff from the army, that he could get a discount. And he became very good friends with my father's family. And then when he came back to the United States, he told me all about my family and Italy and all, and then we started dating. So that's how, but I knew him from when I was a child, really. My mother-in-law knew me as a kid.
Nice. Did he propose to you in any special way? What do you remember about that?
Yes, yeah, you're right, he did. He came to meet me at my job. I worked in a beauty salon on Park Avenue, a very exclusive beauty shop. And he came that day and met me downstairs in the lobby. And he said to me, "I think we should get engaged." And I said, "What for?" He said, "Well, I think it's time, let's get engaged." So we did, and we had a very nice party. And he gave me a beautiful ring. It was about maybe 1.5 carats. Yeah, a square cut, very lovely stone. And then a year after that, we planned a wedding, and we got married December 11th, which was very nice. We went to Florida for honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Florida for honeymoon, which was also nice. And then a year later, I had Rose. And then 3 years later, I had my Yolanda, which is your mother. And then 8 years later, I had my Linda.
The baby.
My little baby, my big girl now. She's the biggest,
Yes.
the youngest, but the biggest, the tallest, and she's lovely. I'm a very, very lucky woman to have three lovely daughters. I really am. I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
Absolutely.
I feel so. That's what makes life really worthwhile living. The girls are so good to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. God bless them. And my Linda takes care of my sister now. She is absolutely wonderful with my sister because my sister's not doing too well.
Right.
So she lives just around the corner and she's calls her 2-3 times a day, goes and visits her almost every single day after work. And if she doesn't, she makes sure that her sons go,
Right.
her husband goes, checks on the house and everything. Because my brother was deceased, so they take care of my sister. And my Yolanda takes care of my mother-in-law, her mother-in-law,
Yes.
Rosie Jammarino. And I have Rose next door that takes care of me. So God gave me 3 daughters, one for each one. I think so, anyway.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna ask you about the girls. Tell us about the
My
girls.
girls, my 3
I would
girls.
say start with Rose and then go to
Rose,
Mom and describe like how you remember.
Rose was absolutely adorable. And she was the first grandchild on both sides. So you can imagine how spoiled she was. She was just a beauty, God bless her. Beautiful child. And good. She was a good girl. She was a very good girl. And then a few years later, 3 years later, I had my redhead, which is my Yolanda. And my father picked me up at the hospital. And as soon as he looked at her, he said, "She's an Aliberti." That's my maiden name, Albert. And the Albertis were the redheads with the freckles and the hazel eyes. So she was my Yolanda. I always used to say my Yolanda. Chuck used to say, "My Rose, my Yolanda." And then later on, thank God. And Chuck always said, "We're going to have daughters." My husband never said, "I want a son." He always said, "We're going to have a girl." And then when I became pregnant to Linda, he made bets with everyone
Right.
and won every bet because he said, "You're going to have another daughter." I said, "Don't you want?" He were going to have another little girl. And sure enough, I had my Linda.
About 8 years after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he never said boys. Never. I don't know why. He just loved his daughters.
Yeah. Did you say my Linda
Oh,
too? Were you
my daughters, my daughters.
But
He was so proud of
do you
his
think
girl.
Well, what were the girls like as they're growing up? Because of the big age difference between them, you know.
No, not at all. Even though there was an age difference, she was their little girl.
And
In fact, this little pin that I'm wearing now, my 2 daughters, Rose and Yolanda, took Linda when she was about 7 years old. Took her to the store around up on Metropolitan Avenue. We had a little jewelry store. And my husband had given them money to go buy Mommy some presents. And Linda picked this out.
Wow.
And I still have it. This has got to be 40 years old.
Wow.
Maybe
It's like
more.
a little cute Christmas tree.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I wear it every year. We'll have to tell Linda.
Yeah.
Just like I have a little Christmas tree that her son, Patrick, made in school.
Here, I can take a picture right now, and then everybody can see it. Okay. Up. Smile. And we know what that sound is, right? What's that sound?
That's going to be on your video.
That's going to be on the audio.
That's.
Now everybody's here, so I'm going to start a new track. What did you like most about Poppy that made you wanna
About
marry?
Poppy?
Yeah, what do you remember? Cause you
Yeah,
got,
well, I'll tell you.
I know he proposed to you.
The
but
most,
you don't think about it.
well, he proposed to me, and he knew that, which is really true. He knew financially. I came from a family that wasn't poor.
Right.
So it made it very good because he knew exactly what I liked and what I could do and what I can't do. And he never, never told me I couldn't buy anything that was expensive or I couldn't buy something good for the house or the children. Never. I could do what I want.
Right.
Plus, I had my own savings, which made me feel very independent. I didn't have to depend so much on him because I worked and I had a nice little bank account.
Yeah.
So, yes, and that's very important in life. Not to feel that you have to depend on your husband.
Right.
Yeah, really. Yeah,
we help each other out.
I was very independent.
Well, do you keep do you keep a lot of nice pictures? Where do you keep all your favorite pictures?
Of Dad? Yes, I do. I'll show you one.
Yeah.
I have it.
What's your favorite? What, if you could name a favorite.
My
Of you-
favorite
of you-
picture
of you
of him
together.
and I
Yeah.
in my backyard that Rose's girlfriend took when she came to visit us from upstate New York. And she took a picture of Dad and I think it's we were very happy here. He wanted to move to Vegas. He had retired. I was still working, but he says, you retire soon because I think Rose and Jeff are thinking of moving to Vegas. I think we should sell the house and go to Vegas. We just didn't move fast enough because the market was very high at the time.
Yeah.
Chuck's brother Tommy sold his house and made a fortune.
He came out here.
Came out here first. We showed him all the brochures and all. We came to visit here. And then we brought the brochures back to Tommy and Mary. And they made up their mind in 1 year with all their children. And they moved to Vegas 3 years before us when the market was very high.
Yeah.
We waited too long because Uncle Johnny didn't want us to move. He just felt they didn't want to move.
Yeah, they'd be.
But, right,
Yeah.
but the market had dropped, but Chuck said he didn't care. We're selling the house and we're going to stop.
About what year was that? It was like 92, 91 when you moved out here.
Yes, because he died in what, 89? So it must have been 82. Yeah,
Yeah.
right, about 82, because
You've been since 82.
he spent a good 7, 8 years here.
Yeah.
And he loved it because he had two brothers here.
Oh no, he died in 98, I think. Yeah. 98. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Because I remember it was August 30th, I think. Because I was getting ready to start school and I was out here. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
But he enjoyed it here. He loved it. He loved his backyard. He made friends with Reno and Francis next door. And we went out a lot. We went to California. We went to Mesquite. We went
He used to drive
to
everywhere.
Lake Havasu.
Yeah.
We went all over. And he really enjoyed himself here.
Yeah.
And he got sick.
Right.
But he had a good life here. That's important.
Did you ever travel overseas? Like, did you go back to Italy at all? Or
No.
You never traveled?
I'm sorry I didn't. That's the only two places I would want to go would be Italy to see, where the roots are.
Yeah.
For grandma on my mother's side and grandma on my father's side.
Yeah.
I would like to go maybe that. And maybe Hawaii. But not that keen about going different countries like China or Japan. No.
I can tell you.
I know,
I've been there.
right? You've been there all over.
But Italy,
but
we should
yeah, but Italy would be the only one only because of my roots. I would like to go,
Absolutely.
just to see where. My father came from Naples, but then they moved to Rome, and my mother's side, they lived in a little town right off Naples, so that would be the area I would go, like Naples and Rome, Milan, Milan, yeah.
Yeah. So your side of the family is all from Naples.
Yes,
And what about his side of the family?
yes.
Where
My
were they?
father was born in Italy, not my mother. My mother was born in America, but my father was born in Italy, and my grandparents.
But does that make you full Italian though, because of your parents, or?
From what I understand, but yet when you see my father, when you know my father's coloring, with the hazel eyes and the red hair and the freckles like my daughter, and my father's brothers, all light skin, light eyes, redheads,
Yeah.
there's got to be some kind of a mixture in there.
Joe. Yeah.
I would maybe Irish,
Yeah. Papa Joe with the red hair.
red hair.
Yeah.
My uncle Tommy, redhead. My uncle Carmine was a redhead.
And then Linda and Mom.
And my cousins are, And my husband was a redhead as a child with blue eyes, then he became blonde.
It just changed.
His hair changed. My mother-in-law said it was reddish when he was born, and it got blonde. Became a blonde with blue eyes.
Because mine was light and it
Yeah.
got darker.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, well, the light.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mixtures there,
Yeah.
which I don't know. I would see, some people say French, but I think there must have been some Irish mixed in our family for the colorings, that I see.
Yeah.
And maybe some French, I don't know. But you have a lot of German in your family because the background of your grandma, Gemarino, her mother was German,
Bonacore.
and your father's mother was German. So you're German Italian, a lot German,
Yeah.
more German than I would think.
Really?
Yeah, oh sure.
Yeah. I always thought I was closer.
No,
to
no,
Italian, but
more
no.
German than Italian in your side. Because they believe what your mother was and your grandmother, those are the genes you carry.
Right.
So your two grandmothers were German. So the German gene is more in you, I think.
Yeah.
You can see by your coloring too.
Yeah. And we're talking about hair. How was your hair light all your
Yeah.
life? All your life? it was
Yeah,
very light?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you definitely have more German in your genes, I believe,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. The more mixture in Italian, which is great.
What's your best memory of Poppy?
My what?
Your best memory. Best memory.
My best memory.
Yeah. Like
I
somewhere
think-
you went, or maybe some
I
event.
think my best memory is, well, first of all, I think it was high school. Because I tried very hard because my sister was very smart and my sister had gotten the award for beauty culture. And that was very tough for me because she was 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
And we were still in the same school. And I was kind of flighty. I liked to dance more and go out more. And she was more studious.
You were a freshman. She was a senior.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then I came down a little bit, and I tried so hard to win that medal. I studied, and then when they called my name and I got up on that stage and they said, "You won the beauty culture medal too," I was like so thrilled. My family was in the audience clapping, and that was, it was hard because I had to follow my sister's footsteps. So it was kind of tough, but it was a thrilling, it was really thrilling. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good memory.
What about with Poppy? What was your best memory with him?
Probably our honeymoon.
Your honeymoon?
I mean, a wedding first, the wedding was a lot of fun. It was very nice. And he wanted just ushers. I just had ushers. All his friends, no flower girls. My sister was my maid of honor, just my maid of honor. But all boys, all ushers. I'll show you my wedding book.
Yeah.
I have my wedding book. I'll show you and Debbie my wedding book. And I think that was fun. The wedding and then the honeymoon.
Where'd you go for your honeymoon?
Our honeymoon, we went to Florida. And that was nice.
Like Boca Raton or
Miami.
Miami?
Yeah, I stayed
You
at.
stayed at the beach?
Yeah, we stayed at the Flamingo in Miami.
Nice.
We stayed what? I think 8 days.
8 days?
Yeah,
Wow.
8 days.
Very nice.
It was nice. It really was.
Hmm.